Today I'm going to be testing some Masterclass paints, including some new speed paints, some new washes, and some new metallics. First, we're going to start off with some speed paint, and by the way, all these miniatures were primed with a matte white air primer. We're starting off with the new Blood Moon Red. Right off the bat, it was nice to put on. Again, I think I didn't put enough on my brush. I was trying to spread it too much and not get into the recesses too much, which is a mistake you make when you're using speed paints. This one is very dark red. I think this is kind of like the red we wanted. It doesn't turn pink like the bright red does. The bright red also has a bit of orange to it. In a later video, I actually want to test out these two new speed paints with different like Zenithal or Slap Chop and all that, so keep an eye out for that video. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, get notified as well. And thanks again for watching. Hope you're enjoying. Hit that like button, folks. Alright, Turnbull Turquoise. Now it looks a lot more dark than what it is on the bottle. I will say it is. It went on really well. It was pretty good coverage. You can see that it did get lighter on the more flat areas. It did go into the recesses quite a bit. But as you can see, I'm putting this as an application on an entire miniature. This is not something normally someone does when you're using speed paint. Maybe as a base coat and then you come back and paint over it, which, by the way, I will do with some other paints I'm testing. Like I said, I'm trying out the new Blanche Masterclass paints that I just received not too long ago in the mail. This was not given as a gift, by the way. I purchased these myself, and any little help from you guys, all the times you watch, you hit like, you subscribe, helps this channel. Now we're moving on to the washes and the shades. Voodoo Shade is our first one, and boy do I like this shade. It is a nice base color over white. Really does a good job getting into recesses. Doesn't pool as much as some of the other shades. Now again, when I'm using the matte gray air primer, I find the shades don't stick to it as well when you're using it right off the bat. This is a matte white air primer, and as you can see, it sticks to it really well. It doesn't pool up too much. I'm putting it everywhere, slapping it on, pretty thick, but it just dries a nice color. It's almost a little bit better than I think the soft tone or the light tone. It's like in between. Now we're going to use the warm skin shade. I'm using this on a I'm using, by the way, random miniatures I had lying around that aren't part of anything that I'm not probably going to use for anything, even if I do. This guy was actually like a test subject for like airbrush painting, for how much pressure to put my airbrush, and it was all sorts of colors and all sorts of weird stuff. Just reprimed him in white, because who cares if he's got less details and all that. But I do have to say, I like the color of this. It does remind me, however, of Peachy Flesh. I feel like if I took Peachy Flesh of the speed paint range, put this all over a miniature, this is what it would look like. It did have a little bit more of the recesses, but it did pool a bit more at the bottom. And you can see as it dries, and I didn't want to soak up any of it because I want you guys to see. And you can see on the shield there, on the armor, it really just pooled up. And the last shade we're trying is the Grim Dark Shadow. This, my folks, or my friends, or miniature painters out there, is Nuln Oil. Or what Nuln Oil used to be, maybe, because now it's supposedly they changed the recipe. I didn't see much of a difference. I had both versions of Nuln Oil. I didn't see much of a difference, but I do like this. It is very dark. Well, super dark. It's pretty dark. Gets in the recesses really well. Doesn't pool too much where you don't want it to. Doesn't just fall off the miniature like the last one did. Does a pretty good job covering. Gives it a nice, it's dark, but it's got like a tiny hint of brown, like just so subtle, but it's more blackish grayish. I don't even know what to call. All right, let's look at a couple metallics now. We got a couple new metallics in this paint set. One of them is Emperor Gold. By the way, love this Emperor Gold. Same problem though with the tip. If you remove the cap, you're gonna have some metallic paint already on the tip there. It's going to make a mess. It comes out real quick out of the bottle. You shake it, it's gonna be even worse. Anyways, all the metallics, they've always had problems with this where it just plops out of the bottle. It sticks to the cap. The coverage on this, however, is really good. I really enjoyed it. It covered up really well this Peachy Flesh. I call it that because I find it's exactly to that. But the warm skin shade, I'm just having fun putting on some metallic parts, some armor of this guy. Got a nice shine to it, not too thick. So it's good for one layer. I don't think you need 2 layers of this one. I don't know what it's like on top of a darker paint. You'll eventually see me use these in my run-of-the-mill miniature painting tutorials. So Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are new. Welcome. I hope you found this video easily, and hopefully you enjoy. So the last paint we're using here, the last metallic is, heavy metal. So if I'm mistaken, they used to have this before, I think. This is a little bit darker than the gunmetal. It's a bit shinier. It does a really good job covering up, again, the wash. Again, it almost acts like a speed paint because it's so translucent, like it's so opaque, it's so liquid, like it's not thick at all, and it does a really good job. I was having fun just, again, trying it on all sorts of parts of this miniature here. I don't even know what this is from. This is a Nolzur's miniature that I had, and I even sprayed over it because I know they're already primed, but I really wanted just a white primer or a white base on my miniatures just to get the same effect on all of them. Like I said, one day I'm going to be trying out those new spade paints with different types of undercoating to see if that red, because as I saw, anyways, I'm going to go through all of them at the end here and give my rating out of 10 on each one, so keep an eye out for that. The final thing we're testing is Grim Rust, and wow, was I ever impressed with Grim Rust. This is rust. If you look at their, I think, is it dry, not dry rust, the other rust, I don't remember the name, it looks like mud. And then the dry rust, I don't know, it's too bright for rust. It'll be a good mix with this, I think. If you put this on first, you come in with a dry brush, I think, of that dry rust, I think that's going to work really well. All right, let's take a look. Let's review each one here. So the first one is the speed paint, the Blood Moon Red. I'm going to give this one a, let's say, a 6 out of 10. It was okay. Coverage is not bad, but as you can see, it didn't really get into the recesses. It didn't blotch off. The Turnbull Turquoise did a pretty good job. I found it had a little bit more oomph to it. I give it a 7 out of 10. Our first shade was the Voodoo shade. I love this one. Really good coverage, nice coloration, a 9 out of 10. Also doesn't drip down off the miniature. I don't know if it would with other primers, but it didn't off of this one. The Warm Skin shade, again, it's like peachy flesh. Not super impressed. A little leakage on it. 7 out of 10. Maybe I would have went a little less. Could have went a 6.5, but anyways, the Grimdark Shadow, again, it's like Nuln Oil. I find this one is a direct comparison to Nuln Oil, but it goes on well, it gets into the recesses very well, does not pool where you don't need it to. 8 out of 10. Emperor Gold, amazing metallic paint. Really enjoyed working with it. 9 out of 10 for that one. It's a very subtle gold. It's got a bit of a pink hue to it. Really good. Heavy Metal, again, very good. Not too bright. It works like almost like a speed paint version. I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. And then the final one, Grim Rust. Like I said, this is rust paint. This gets a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this as an effect. I don't know when I'm going to use it as an effect. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget, you have to slay the gray one miniature at a time.